And Hurd's announcement comes as the Republican National Committee is giving out qualifications for candidates to participate in the first primary debate. That debate set to take place in August in Milwaukee, and many of the declared candidates will not make it to that debate stage, right? The race is on. So in order to make it on stage to debate in the first primary debate, a candidate must have at least 1% voter approval in at least 3 national polls, have a minimum of 40,000 unique donors, and pledge to support whoever is the party's eventual nominee. That last one's interesting, right? And that's happening as we're seeing more fallout from the classified document case against former President Trump. Nearly 2/3 of Americans believe the Department of Justice's case against the former president is mainly motivated by politics. That's according to a new Quinnipiac University survey. I want to bring in Republican strategist and former chief of staff to Senator Mike Lee, Boyd Matheson. Boyd, good to talk to you this morning. I'll get your reaction on Will Hurd in a moment, but I think that last qualification to get onto the primary stage is an interesting one. I cheated and looked at your face a moment ago. So the RNC would have to, this person would have to pledge to support whoever the nominee is if they want to make it on the debate stage. They sign an agreement as such. What does that look like, and who might that disqualify?
Yeah, I think obviously the big challenge there, I think President Trump, former president, has said that he wouldn't necessarily do that. He would if they won legitimately, and a lot of qualifiers in there. And so that will be an interesting thing. It's an interesting thing for the party to actually do that. I don't know that any of that is really sustainable or enforceable in terms of what people would actually do at the end of the day. And so it's a little bit of an interesting qualifier. And again, whether anyone says, no, I'm not going to sign it and not show up on the debate stage versus those who may sign it and later change their mind, I think is probably the higher probability when it comes to that.
So a few givens, the former president, Ron DeSantis. Who else would you say is likely to make it up on that stage come August?
I think you'll definitely have Senator Tim Scott will be on that stage. I think Nikki Haley will get on that stage, and I think Mike Pence will also get on that stage. I think that's really kind of the top tier. Everyone beyond that is going to have a little bit more of a challenge. You could have someone like Vivek Ramaswamy, who could definitely get the donor base going there, turn that over quickly because he has the resources to get it out. And a lot of these lower tier candidates, their biggest challenge is going to be financing and being able to actually have enough money to get their message out and to get enough of that base momentum going that they can actually make it onto a debate stage.
How about somebody like Will Hurd, who announced that he's running for president this morning, former Texas congressman? Your reaction?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a surprise for me. He's a very smart guy. He did very well in Congress, and he is playing an important message, I think, which is that it's not just about getting the primary nomination. Winning in the spring is one thing, but winning in the fall is a completely different thing. And I think what Will Hurd is attempting to do is to say to Republican voters, look, we can all win a primary. That's one thing. But if we don't win the general, all of this is just window dressing in the end. And so he's really making an appeal to say, look, where you go to the more moderate center left to center right, which is where a lot of the country is, you have to get those independent voters if you actually want to win on the first Tuesday of November. And I think that's Will Hurd's play. Whether that works for him, I don't know that there's a real clear path for him to move down. But I think that messaging is becoming a little more sticky as you look out across the country. And people are saying, yeah, we do have to have someone who actually can capture some independence if they actually want to win and take the White House.
Big headline this week was the plea deal, the alleged plea deal between Hunter Biden and the investigation into tax fraud and also illegal possession of a firearm for his past with substance abuse. You know, Republicans had said they would continue to investigate. But is this the end of the road for those investigations in Delaware into foreign finances and business dealings?
Yeah, I think there's still a lot of rumblings in the House that there'll be some additional committee work and investigations going on there. It will be interesting to see how that plays out in terms of the presidential politics, who really lays into that, who deals with the former president's indictment. And actually, if I were advising any of the candidates, I'd say you're not running against that. You have to be running for something else and really interesting in that space. I do think Vivek Ramaswamy has been interesting in not responding necessarily to Hunter Biden or the indictment of the former president, but saying, look, the media is obsessed with all the wrong things. And as candidates, we keep taking the bait. And so they do a great event. They roll out a new policy strategy. Someone talks about some important things as it relates to China or to Ukraine. And then they're simply answering questions about Hunter Biden or the former president. And I think the right strategy is to say, look, I'm not running against Hunter Biden, and I'm actually not running against the former president. I'm running for the country. Here's my agenda, and here's how we try to move it all forward. I think that's the messaging strategy that this next tier of candidates has to get to if they're going to make any dent in terms of polls, in terms of fundraising, and an ability to get a ground game where they can actually win delegates, which is what this is about in the end.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.